Welcome to the pelvic floor glow up mobility routine geared towards pelvic floor tension. We're going to go through a flow together focused on mobilizing the pelvic floor and mobilizing the pelvis with the specific intentions to increase the mobility or decrease the tension in that pelvic floor. So we're going to use some of the things that we've learned so far in this series, and we're going to continue to just add on and progress you through. So I want you to find a place on the floor. Ideally, you can get a yoga mat somewhere where we can move around and be comfortable. I'm going to walk you through this and time it out for you, stopping to give you cues, but hopefully through this you can kind of start with me and finish all the way through the end so you can check that box that you've gotten good mobility in for your pelvic floor today. So I'm actually going to have you start on your back. So go ahead and lay on back for me. Here, I just want you to get comfortable. You can have your knees bent up or down, arms out. I don't care. I just want you to find a comfortable position on your back. If you want to get a couple of pillows to prop your head up, that's fine too. We're going to start with about a minute worth of just connection breathing. So I know that we seem like a broken record always coming back to that breath, but we can't stress enough the importance of it and the utility of it, whether I'm symptomatic or I'm super well and healed and have no problems at all. This is something that we wish every pelvic floor does on a daily basis. So I want you to lay back, close your eyes, whatever you need to do to kind of get connected and get in the mood. We're going to start with an inhale, and I want you to think about inhaling into your belly and into your rib cage. Blow out, close around your marble, pull your marble up, pull the rest of that belly in. Inhale for me. Breathe into that belly, breathe into your rib cage, drop that marble down. Blow out for me, close around the marble, pull the marble up, pull it all the way in. If you're somebody who enjoys the elevator cue, on your inhale, I want you to think about that elevator sending down past the ground floor all the way down into the basement. You might feel like you're pushing down a little bit. You're going to exhale, your elevator doors will close, that elevator will rise up in your tummy all the way up past the first floor, up into your attic. Inhale, drop it back down. We're going to do 2 more breaths together. So now what we're going to do is we're going to begin to manipulate our pelvis to stretch our hips, which inadvertently stretch our pelvic floor. So we're going to actually start with a move called Happy Baby. So Happy Baby is at its fullest is going to be you grabbing on to the inside of your big toe. Here's the full stretch. You are allowing your knees to go towards the floor and your legs opening up and relaxing. If this is too uncomfortable, too stretchy, or just not attainable, you can modify this down by holding on to the inside of your ankles. You can also just hold on to the back of your thighs, letting your feet drop. Or we can do single-sided Happy Baby, where we just do one leg at a time. So I want you to find a level at which you're comfortable with and that you want to do today. So we're going to get up in the full Happy Baby position. So here our pelvic floor is on full display, right? So this is a great time to really tap in. So here we're going to focus more on the inhales today. So as you inhale, I want you to push down into that perineum. So we are stretching the front side of our pelvic floor. So you can think more toward your urethra, more towards the top of your penis, more towards your pubic bone is going to be where I want your brain to go. So you're going to inhale, and I want you to send your air towards that area. And then I want you to exhale, and I just want everything to passively go back to normal. So we're going to drop the contraction for now. We're going to inhale into our tummies, push it down into that pelvic floor. Exhale, let it all relax. Most of you should feel lots of tension here on the inside of your thighs and in your hips. Hopefully throughout the minute as we hold here and as we gain more mobility through our pelvic floors and our hips, our knees should be able to sink closer to the floor, and our feet should be able to come up a little closer to our head. So if that's something that you kind of want to wind up or progress over the minute, that is perfectly fine. We're going to sit here for a few more breaths. With each inhale, I want you to be thinking about your pelvic floor, be thinking about the area in between your legs. Can I melt down there? Can I imagine it's butter that I put in the microwave? And with each inhale, I'm allowing it to stretch and mobilize more. We see that during stretches, because it's uncomfortable, people will actually squeeze and gather up their pelvic floors. And this is something that most people have never brought awareness to. We'll do one more breath here. Big inhale, push down, blow out. Let those knees sink closer to the ground. So you can bring your legs back down. We're going to slowly transition up to a kneeling position. So here, if you don't already have something a little cushy, I would suggest getting something for your knee. So I'm going to get this pad here. So we're going to move on to an adductor stretch. So I'm going to have you up on your knee. I want the weight over this leg, the knee that you're kneeling on. And then your other leg is going to go out to the side here. You should feel potentially a stretch on the inside of your thigh here before we even start. And if this is an okay stretch for you, you're more than welcome to stay right here. So I'm actually going to progress you down, and I want you to put your hands on the ground. So you're going to come down like this. I'll show you from this side. You're going to be here, hands on the ground. So I am in a straight backed position. My butt is behind me, but my leg is out to the side. So before we push back into the stretch, I want you to become aware of your pelvic floor. Take inventory. Where is your marble? Before we start, is that marble clenched up and in your attic? I want you to take a breath in, and I need you to drop your marble. So now what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you rock back and forth. I'm going to have you send your butt to your heels if possible. And then I'm going to have you come right back up. Here we should be feeling a more or less of a stretch through the inside of this thigh. You might also feel it in the hip that you're on if you're tight there. You might actually also feel tension in the foot that you're on if the toe is tucked up underneath you. All a great way to stretch your body fully. And you're just going to go back and forth here. If you find a position that really stretches and you want to stop and hold, please feel free to. I like to kind of move my pelvis back and forth as I mobilize this adductor. I'm going to check in on that breath. I'm going to inhale and really make sure that that marble is down and I'm not slowly clenching it up the more stretching that I do. And I'm going to go back and forth. So now what we're going to do, we're going to switch legs. So you can stay exactly where you are and kick out that leg. I'm going to turn so you guys can see. So I'm going to be here. I'm going to take the leg out to the side. And then I'm going to come down here. So I'm a lot tighter on this side for whatever reason. So maybe I spend a little bit more time here. I'm gonna have to really check into that pelvic floor because this side is tighter. I want to clench up against it, but I'm gonna find a level at which I can still keep that marble down, keep it relaxed. Our adductors, the muscle that we're stretching here, it comes up and it attaches on the inside of our pubic bone, which is where our pelvic floor attaches. So they share fascial lines, they share attachment sites. So if one is really tight, it's going to pull on the other. So this is I always say they're kind of like sisters. It's really hard to address one without addressing the other. And so stretching and mobilizing your adductors is a really, really good way to always take care of your pelvic floor. And this exercise here is one of our favorite ways to do it. I'm going to give you guys about 10 more seconds here, just kind of going back and forth. Again, if this is too hard, you can come up and just hold here. You can also lean over a ball or a bench if that's helpful as well. All right, last one we're going to do to mobilize our pelvic floor today is going to be child's pose, but we're going to do it a little differently. So child's pose traditionally is going to be one where you get on your hands and knees, put your hands on the ground, and lean down like this. Most people choose to have their knees out wide, but we're actually going to bring your thighs all the way together if possible. And even if you can, I might have you rotate your feet out. So I'm going to show you that from behind. You're going to bring your thighs together, and then if possible, I want you to rotate your feet out like that. So what that does is when we rotate our feet out, it pulls our sit bones apart, which actually stretches our pelvic floor more. So if we can get into that position, I am now going to sit my butt back, and then I'm going to come as far down as I can. So I'm going to be here. I'm going to inhale, and I'm going to breathe down into my pelvic floor. And then I'm going to blow out. I can inhale and think about my belly pushing into my thighs. And then I'm going to blow out. I feel a stretch through my arms and my lats because I'm tight in my upper body. If this is too much for you, we have a few options. You can bring your hands in and choose to be here. You can have a pillow to hug if you'd like. If the legs are too much of a stretch, please feel free to bring your feet in and knees out. This is a continuum and something that you can absolutely progress yourself through as you gain more mobility. If you feel like your knees are really tight or not tolerating it, you can get a pillow and put it behind your thighs so that it stops you and you don't have to get into as much knee flexion. So remember, when we are choosing to mobilize, I think this is across the body, but specifically for our pelvic floor, the positions at which you get in don't need to be so aggressive and overwhelming that I can't breathe, I can't do anything because all I'm doing is tightening up against the pain or tension that I'm feeling. So it might feel like that you're regressing or taking a step back, but I promise you that in the long run, it's going to be so much better when our goal here is mobility, lengthening, and relaxing. So hopefully you're still in that child's pose position, just holding, breathing. This is when I just, again, like to make sure that I am bringing awareness to my pelvic floor. My mind will drift, maybe think about other things, but every once in a while, just bring it back. Especially if you're somebody who deals with tension, you're going to begin to note that your pelvic floor, without permission, is going to come back up into that resting tone, which is going to be in that attic or marble up in your throat. You are going to have to consciously put it down over and over again to change its resting tone. And that's why we love mobility routines like this, because it is 10 to 12 minutes where you are very specifically thinking about it, which then overall is going to give to you day to day. So go ahead and come out of that position. Once I'm done, I like to just kind of check in, take inventory. Hopefully you feel a little bit down-regulated, a little bit more lengthened. Jaw might be a little looser. Belly's a little flabbier in a good way. We've got that marble that's dropped down. None of this should cause you pain. None of this should cause any discomfort. So hopefully you enjoyed that and set you up for a better day with more length and awareness in that pelvic floor.